What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Dan here, and guys, welcome to DanQ8000's Top 5 Best Games of 2021. It's year end, and we are jumping in to some countdown compilation videos. I cannot wait. It's my favorite time of the year. Now, one thing I want to mention before we jump into it, number one, these are completely based on my opinions on the variety of games that I did play in the year 2021. They basically had to have come out in 2021, and I had to have played them. So if there's a game you loved and you thought it deserved to be in this countdown, well, just keep in mind, if I didn't play it, I can't really put it on the countdown. It's as simple as that. So it doesn't mean it doesn't deserve a spot. And if I had played some of these games that I heard about that were fantastic, they probably would have made their way onto the list. But I figured I'd just let you know that ahead of time. And again, they are my opinions. So what I have on my list might differ from what you guys have on your own personal lists. So just keep that in mind as we go. And one final thing I want to mention is that this was actually one of the toughest top countdowns I had to make. There were tons of games that I just loved this year, but some of them just weren't good enough to make the list in my opinion. And I fought over the top 5. I'm like, what should go where? Do I like this better than that? For what reason? Some of them were easier. Some of them are surprises. I guess you guys are just gonna have to watch and see. So without any further ado, let's get into my top 5 best games of 2021. Coming in at number 5 on my countdown, we have Deathloop. Now, this game is probably one of the most unique single-player experiences you'll have in a video game. Yes, it's very similar to the dev team's predecessor, Dishonored. However, it is so unique that you can overlook that. Yes, it's basically the same engine and everything plays very similarly to Dishonored, but it's such a different experience. It's something you can say you've never actually done. I've never played a game where the levels, being the same levels over and over again, were more enjoyable than the last, because the cool thing about this game is you're stuck in a loop and you can't get out of the loop until you take out all the enemies in the game, all these main bosses to break the loop. But guess what? They're all over the place at the same time. How are you supposed to get 2 people taken out at the same time? Well, you play through the game multiple times, trial and error, until you figure out how to get them all to group up in the same spot at the same time, so you can take them all out in one go, in one day. I think it's one of the coolest things. It's very confusing at first. You're a little anxious and you get a little overwhelmed by it. But as time goes on, you start to figure out how to manipulate it, and it just makes it more and more satisfying, and you just feel so good about it. And it, like I said, man, it is like such a unique experience. You will enjoy it the more you play it. At first, yes, you're a little overwhelmed, but it's worth it. That's why it's number 5. Coming in at number 4 on my countdown, we have Halo Infinite. Now, a few of you guys might be a little surprised at this result here for number 4. However, I have to give the game its due. I've been a Halo fan since I was a kid. I played the first game on the original Xbox in 2001. And I am the biggest Halo critic I can possibly be, because I want it to be the best experience. And Halo games of late haven't been that special. They've been forgettable, honestly. But Halo Infinite, they stepped it up quite a lot. I gotta say, despite the fact that this was the first Halo game that actually had an open world where you would go around and explore and you could do side missions and things like that didn't pertain to the main story, it was completely unnecessary, but it was a nice addition, despite the fact that it did kind of stop the story dead as it happens, unfortunately. But despite that, the saving grace and the big thing, the reason why this game is on the countdown is such good gameplay. They've increased the gameplay so much. They haven't removed the fact that it's a Halo game, and you could feel that's a Halo game, but they've added things to make it more modern and less clunky, because even modern Halo games of old, like Halo 5, felt a little sluggish. This game feels modern and fast-paced, and it is a lot of fun, and you gotta give it a go. I honestly see good things for Halo in the future. Coming in at number 3 on my countdown, we have Resident Evil Village. Now, Capcom has been kind of riding a wave of excellence in the last few years. You know, with Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2 and 3 Remake, they've been solid titles that I've thoroughly enjoyed. And when the announcement to Res 8 came out, I was so intrigued. The villain looked awesome, at least what I thought was the only villain, Lady Dimitrescu. I thought that was what the whole game was centered upon, until getting the game, that was just scratching the surface. There was a much broader story to it, and she was just one of the many villains that all had a unique style, and I just absolutely loved. And it maintained, the cool thing I like about these latest Resident Evil games is that they still maintain the whole, virus and, Umbrella's still at the heart of absolutely everything. but they put a unique twist on it, how like, you know, this is now kind of a vampires and werewolves kind of a feel to it, and the whole time you're immersed in it with these great environments, and each enemy in the game has their own kind of way of, you know, stalking you and, you know, hunting you and, you know, being a threat to you, and they're completely different each time. So you could be focused on one thing, you know, and worrying about one thing, and then the next you know, that's the boss is completely different from that, you know, like it's so unique, and the stories are really good. Obviously picking up with Ethan Winters from Resident Evil 7, kind of continuing that story, the FPS kind of story. And it's a good sequel. It's a solid sequel, and you guys got to give it a go if you haven't done so already. That's why it comes up at number 3 on my countdown. Coming in at number 2 on my countdown, the runner-up, we have Forza Horizon 5. Now, I know this is going to surprise a heck of a lot of you, because racing games don't normally make my top countdowns, but honestly, man, you got to look at it. I think the only thing that people look at when they see a racing game is it can't be a top game. It just can't, because it's a racing game, and that's the only thing that plagues it is a racing game. But you got to look at this. You got to look at the history of the Forza Horizon franchise. You got to look at what they've done differently with this game. They have improved so many different aspects of the game. They've taken out the pointless things that didn't need to be there, and they've streamlined it, but they've also made the game longer with way more content, more things to do. The map is the biggest map out of any of the Forza Horizon games to date. You know, there's so many different new vehicles, there's new challenges, there's rotating seasons, kind of like they did for Forza Horizon 4, but they've made it not the main aspect this time, so you don't feel, you know, kind of, you don't struggle to feel like you need to, you know, do things in a certain season. That's just kind of like, oh, just new content to go for and race for and things like that, different challenges to go up with. And it was one of the more enjoyable Forza Horizon games that I've ever played, and I wanted to do it all. I honestly wanted to do all the challenges. One of the first, I think, Forza Horizons where I actually spent my time and did not just the main story missions, but also every single race in the game that I could. I wanted to make sure all of it was completed. I wanted to get it all done. Even if it didn't get me anything specific, you didn't have to do it. I went ahead and did it. With Forza Horizon 4, I kind of skipped out on a few things, but I made sure I did absolutely everything. That was my goal, and it was so much fun, and it's one of the most polished racing games you'll play. So that's why it comes in at number 2 on my countdown. And finally, my number 1 pick of my top 5 best games of the year goes to Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Guys, I know what you're thinking. I know, you're probably figuring out, Dan, what are you doing? You're breaking your own rule. Why is a remaster on your top 5 best games of the year, let alone first place? Well, let me explain myself, ladies and gentlemen. When I make these lists, I literally take all the games and I go through them one by one, and I tell myself what's good about them, what's bad about them, and I put that out and I sort my list. There were tons of games that I absolutely loved to play this year that aren't even on the list. There were reasons they weren't on the list. There's so many reasons. It's like subtle things that just make them stand out. And my number 1 rule, despite having remasters not being on my list because they're not new games, is, was the game good? Was it good? Was it a good experience? Is it good value? Can I recommend it? Of course. I think this remaster is the best remaster I've ever played. It takes all 3 of the original Mass Effect games, 1 through 3, with all DLCs minus 1 that got corrupted from Mass Effect 1. Let's not talk about that one, but it puts them all in a regular AAA price tag, puts it in a game, and releases it for modern consoles and, of course, PC. Now, the cool thing about that is each game is a massive action RPG, averaging around 20 to 30 hours in length. Now, it's so enjoyable. There's so many options. You're going to get so much replay value with this game. Myself, for my channel, I played the entire trilogy 2 times over, and I don't do that for a series. I literally did 1 through 3 with male Paragon, then 1 through 3 with Renegade Female. That's how I did it, and it was just, it's the game that makes you want to keep playing it. I think one of my most enjoyable series that I did this year was this Legendary Edition. I played it for months and I enjoyed going back to it. I think the viewers loved it a lot, and it's just one of those games that, despite it being a remaster and most of the games are over a decade old, it's a new experience. And even though it's not a remake, and usually that's my thing, it's got to be a remake to be involved, it doesn't matter, guys. This game is a solid game. It's a solid remaster, and it's a must buy. Even if you're not a Mass Effect fan, you want to get into something new, you gotta go with it. So I know it might upset some people because I know there are a lot of the games, but unfortunately, if I didn't play the game, they can't be in. And there's a lot of games I wish I could honorable mention as well. There's tons of great games that I'd love to mention that should be played and you guys should buy. But in terms of my top list, Mass Effect Legendary Edition tops it. That's how good this remaster is, guys. It is that solid. So you should go check it out. That's why it comes in at my number 1. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. My top 5 best games of 2021. Some might find it kind of controversial, but hey, that's what makes it interesting. You guys gotta let me know what you thought about these games. If you agree with me, if you don't, let me know your personal favorites in the comments below. What you guys think should have won, what should have been swapped. I'd love to hear your opinions on what you thought 2021 was in terms of gaming. You know, I'm always curious to hear what you guys have to say. I'm going to go do things a little bit different, and next to me, I'm gonna go ahead and throw up some honorable mentions. These are games that I was fighting with, and I would love to see them in the list, but they just weren't. There were just too many flaws that I couldn't include them in my top 5. However, they are games that I think you guys should check out based on my experiences with them. Normally, I don't like giving rating systems in games, as you guys know. I like to just give a recommendation, and I like to give recommendations for these games, and especially by now, as I'm sure most of them are on sale, and there's no reason why you shouldn't pick them up. So, number 1, you should check out all the top 5 games that I have posted, in my opinion, as well as some of these honorable mentions. So, like I said, guys, some of them are going to be super cheap. You know, might as well cop them, get them, because they were a lot of fun to play, and they were really meaningful to me in this past year. If I could like give some sort of reward, I at least wanted to do an honorable mention. I know it's a little bit different, so be sure to check these games out. They are worth your time, in my opinion. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching and enjoying and not just enjoying, but joining me for all these games, these live streams in 2021. I had an absolute blast. There was a ton of games. I was able to pick up way more games this year because I've moved to full-time, full streaming this past year. So as opposed to recording videos on the side, non-live. So I feel like we were able to get way more, and I think that's why this was a much harder list for me to create, just because I had so much to choose from and there were so many factors this time. So as I said, guys, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like on this one and comment down below what you thought and anything you would change, you would add, would swap. I'd love to hear your top lists as well in the comments. Don't forget to like, follow all my social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and Discord. Those are all linked in the description. If you want to get a shirt or a hoodie of mine, there's a link in the description. It's also embedded right below the video. You can scroll down and see some of the stuff I have available to you as well. Thank you to all the sponsors of this channel: DXRacer, Bones Coffee, Always Bearded, The Ridge Wallet, and Jinx Custom Controllers. I use their products every single day, and you can check them out for yourself with the links in the description. And make sure you use my promo code DanQ8000 where applicable on most of those sites to save some money at checkout. And finally, guys, don't forget to check out the Team 8000 membership program. It does support the page so very much. There are 3 currently tier levels to choose from based on your budget that provide a variety of perks for signing up, such as badges by your name, emojis to use in chat, exclusive videos and streams, priority in open lobbies, discount codes, giveaways, and more. I got tons of stuff hopefully coming in the new year here. I'm really excited to share more of that with you, but for now, just check it out. Get on the ground floor while you can. Link in the description for that, join button below the video, and on my main channel page as well. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you for some more content in 2022. Thanks, guys. Let's hand things over to Knox Hill. Take it easy.
Who's the man with the plan? If you feel trouble wildin' wild on these violent and hit you 8,000. Wait a minute, hold that style is dialed in. Goddamn Billy Jack, we still riding tires flat. I hear them sirens, see shots flying, so we driving fire back. If they ain't vibing, lie with that. Got me dressed up in all black. What up? Hood up, and I see them haters try to run with us. They gon' need inhalers. Gotta breathe them hard just like Darth Vader. Players, grab your respirators. Night invaders get lightsabered. Mask on for the shooters. Move like trash to bed intruder. Got that Glock and got them woofers. Just press play, I'll keep it moving. Who is Knox Hill, you damn fools? Keep it fresh like canned food. There ain't nothing we can't do, so tune into that DanQ. Yeah. It was never, ever a game.